How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to End of Corruption. This is video number 4, January 2nd, 2021. Happy New Year. I'm going to start off by saying something potentially very controversial. So, spoiler. Here we go. I may actually agree, partially at least, with something Mitch McConnell has to say regarding the debate on the stimulus checks. Let's take a listen.
Now, for several days, we've heard some senators say Congress must send more cash to high-earning households who haven't seen any income disruption during COVID-19. Our colleagues who purport to be the champions of vulnerable Americans now say that what struggling people really need is for Congress to stop focusing on targeted relief for them specifically and to instead send thousands of dollars to people who don't need the help. Experts from across the political spectrum agree that our colleague from Vermont is dead wrong on this. Socialism for rich people is a terrible way to help the American families that are actually struggling. So let me say that again. Borrowing from our grandkids to do socialism for rich people is a terrible way to get help to families who actually need it.
Whoa, hold everything. Has hell just frozen over? Did Mitch McConnell just go against trickle-down economic theory? Now, you'll recall in one of my earlier videos, I openly admitted that, but I make a very modest 60 grand a year. We're a single income family of 3. So, not rich by any means, but also not that bad off. So I openly admitted that I don't really need the checks. And they're really just bonuses for me. And I made it clear, I'm very thankful for them. And I don't think that just because we don't need them to actually survive the next week, that doesn't mean we aren't entitled to some help from the government in this time of crisis anyways. Even if our individual situation hasn't changed that much. So like I said, I still have my job. I didn't get a cut in hours, a cut in pay. But the way I would respond to Mitch McConnell saying something like this is that, how about we consider these checks from the government not only as having our money returned to us in a very small portion, but how about we consider it as back pay for years and years of our government, Congress, and definitely you in particular, Mitch, denying us, the American people, universal health care. How does that sound? For that reason alone, I believe that in this critical time, the government can pony up some of our dough and give it back to us in the form of stimulus checks.
Washington Democrats took President Trump's suggestion and skewered it so the checks would benefit even more high-earning households. Imagine a family of 5 where the parents earn $250,000 per year and have not seen any income loss this past year. Speaker Pelosi and Senator Sanders want to send them $5,000 from Uncle Sam.
Okay, it's at this point I need to just clarify for the record. Is that a whole $5,000, Mitch? That's not a lot of money. Let's be clear.
They make $250,000. Nobody's out of work, but our so-called progressive friends say the household needs, quote, survival checks. In fact, they believe a family of 5 should have to earn $350,000 before the spigot of government money would stop entirely. Socialism for rich people.
So notice what McConnell's doing here. He's taking the very highest level of that cutoff income and turning that into his example of giving The $250,000 a year earning family of 5. Some extra money. Crumbs of money, by the way. What about all the people under that amount who are included in that group of able recipients of the money? Unless McConnell has a different idea of how to direct money to them and exclude the upper tier of this group of still mostly middle class, I'd say, maybe upper middle class, yes, but middle class people. This instead seems just like a way to deny everyone any relief.
That's what Speaker Pelosi and Senator Sanders have sketched out. A terrible way to help those who need it. And experts across the political spectrum agree. The liberal editors of the Washington Post have blasted so-called progressives demanding a non-targeted giveaway that would huge amounts to perfectly comfortable families. Larry Summers, who ran the Treasury Department for President Clinton and the National Economic Council for President Obama, says there is, quote, no good economic argument, end quote, for more non-targeted checks with no linkage to need. The liberal New York Times reported this morning that a majority of the households that get non-targeted checks do not end up spending them on urgent needs, but rather just add to their savings. Quote, we know where the pockets of need are, end quote, said one economist, and, quote, putting money there would be a much more efficient use.
Let's review. Pandemic hits February, March, it's in full swing. We've had one stimulus check of $1,200 per adult, $600 per kid. Then 8 months later, just recently another $600 per adult. So half of the original. While most other countries around the world have been covering salaries, the governments have been covering salaries at 70, 75, 80 and above percent, consistently month by month to the duration of the pandemic. Again, I am thankful for my situation, what I have, and I would be willing to forego receiving a check. Maybe I'm more, lenient and gracious than others, but we haven't been given all that much. Let's just keep it in context. Who has been given all that much is the corporations, hugely profitable anyway, and the super rich. So Mitch seems to have a problem with giving free money to what he's calling rich people, $200,000, $300,000 a year for a family of 5. I'm not sure how rich that is, but yes, they're doing okay. But he doesn't seem to have a problem with forking over money to the super uber rich. So I'm not sure how that works, the logic there. So let's hold for the moment the obvious hypocrisy coming from a man who will, at a moment's notice, hand over billions of dollars of unnecessary aid to corporations and rich people. Corporations that are multinational, exceedingly profitable, and somehow, unlike us, the normal citizens of the country, somehow they don't need to save for a rainy day, but we do. That's interesting. So this prompted me to research a little bit about Mitch McConnell and what his financial situation is. So here we're at moneyinc.com, and we're looking at the 10 richest senators in the U.S. So I guess it's in ascending order. First we have number 10, Ron Johnson, estimated net worth of $10.4 million. Okay, scrolling down, number 9, there he is, Mitch McConnell, estimated net worth of $10 million. In addition to being the majority leader in the Senate, Mitch McConnell has a personal wealth of over $10 million. He has been in the Senate for quite blah, 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 blah. Much of his personal wealth, I think that should read, may have come because of a gift bestowed to him in 2008 by his father-in-law. That must be nice. So moving over to a Wikipedia page, personal life section under Mitch McConnell's page. In 2010, the Open Secrets website ranked McConnell one of the wealthiest members of the U.S. Senate based on household worth. And then again, talking about the personal gift. So that's part and parcel of who Mitch McConnell is. Just another rich multi-millionaire telling average income people they can't have free government handouts. Thank you, Mitch. That's very nice. Continuing on in the research, Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine Chao, looking at her page, this talks about, in 2008, Chao's father gave Chao and McConnell between $5 and $25 million. So that actually came from his wife's family. And judging by the name and the flag in the background, I guess she's Taiwanese. Yep, there it is, Taiwan. So one could make the talking point case that Mitch McConnell is getting money directly from China. How about that? Now here's another chart, sources roll call from 2018, ranking the members of the House and Senate by net worth. And let's see, Mitch McConnell is on this list. There he is, number 17. $22.5 million. So that's a lot of money. Now granted, all these guys are about the same. You come up here and you start seeing even more vast sums of money. Mark Warner, former governor of my home state of Virginia, ridiculous, $90 million. Nancy Pelosi, unforgivable, $114 million. But at least Nancy Pelosi is fighting for the $2,000 checks. And then, of course, as we all know by now, because of the recent news cycles down in Georgia, Kelly Loeffler, $500 million, tops the list as the richest congressperson. And funnily enough, she is also for the $2,000 checks, but we all know the reason for that, just to try to keep her power, her seat as Kentucky's representative. So yeah, it gets a lot worse, but Mitch McConnell at 10 to 22 million of net worth. That's the state of our elites in the political establishment parties. Now I do want to point out, it is possible for rich people to do good things. So I'm not badgering these politicians because they're rich, but when you are so rich and you espouse that middle and lower income people shouldn't get a government handout, that says something about you and your hypocrisy. So look at FDR. He was a member of the elite, he was wealthy, but he was a populist and did what he had to do to relieve the financial suffering of the masses of the country. Mitch McConnell seems not interested in doing that.